talk about what makes up our credit score, because then you can see what pieces you can chunk away to really start making a difference. So 35% of that you'll see on there is payment history. Are you paying it on time? Are you paying at least the minimum on time? So the goal with credit isn't to only pay the minimums, because interest will kill you. Interest is only good when you're on the receiving end of it. It's not good when you are paying the interest. It's not your friend. But when you're on the receiving end of interest is great. But when you have to pay it, and think about if you have just 3 credit cards, and the credit card interest rate can be anywhere from, I'd say, 10% now up to 29%. If you have 3 credit cards and you're paying each of them over 20% interest, that's 60% when you add it all up. And as you're making the minimum payment, they're charging you 24% on what you still owe. Right? So if you owe $100, you pay them $25, 24% of that 100 is $24. Really only $1 went towards your principal payment, and the rest went to interest. That's a hard pill to swallow when you put the numbers out there and you're trying to pay everything, and you're paying it, and most of the time the minimums barely cover interest when you're paying the minimums. So you want to make sure you pay at least the minimum payment every single month, but the goal is to pay more than the minimum so you can be debt free and get out of that, because they're gonna make money. One missed payment will stay on your credit report for ever, but it's 2 years to really get to where people really kind of look at the 2-year history. That's 2 years they're gonna look at that missed payment sitting out there. So if we can avoid not even having a missed payment, instead of getting one and having to rebuild from there, it's best to protect it. You have to protect it like your social security number. It's your social and your credit score. You have to protect it with everything you got, because those are the numbers that really can make or break your life. If somebody gets your social, they break your life. Somebody messes with your credit, break your life. Or we're talking today about, hey, this is how we get started, or this is what makes sense, or how it's calculated. We got to know how to play the game, right? This is how we learn how to play the game, and you can always grow it. Even if it takes time, it can be done. It can be done. So 35% is payment history. 30% of that is how much you owe. So this is credit utilization. So if you have a credit card, you want to stay below 30% of that balance. So if you have $1,000 credit card, you do not want to put more than $300 on there. Now, we'll say this is where having multiple credit cards is beneficial, because it will help you with utilization overall. So say your water heater go up, your homeowner, your water heater go up. That is not a $300 bill. That is going to cost you quite a bit of change. You might need to put some more hundreds on that to take care of that kind of bill. If you have to put more than $300 and you have a couple of credit cards that have $1,000 or more balance, you're still okay, even if that one card is over the 30%. So you want to make sure that you got to operate with credit like you don't need it. If you act like you don't need it, you'll always have somebody trying to give it to you. But if you live at that limit, if your balance is $1,000 and you at $999.99, then that's risky. The creditors take that as risky because you're at the max. What if something happens and we can't get our money back? I mean, too close to the edge. I would rather lose $1 than lose 10. I don't want to lose no money, but you know what I mean? If I got to lose something, let it be $1. Don't let me lose that $10 bill because I'm mad. I'm mad over the dollar too, honestly. But $1 versus 10, a 10 versus 100, 100 versus 1,000. Yeah, I'll take the lesser of two evils, Alex, for 200. Thank you. So that's why they don't want any more than 30%. They want to be sure you're going to be okay. So stay below 30% as much as possible. And these two pieces, this is 65% of your credit score. If you can ride out the time and have all your payments on time for say 2 years, good payment history for 2 years, and if you can pay down your debt, then that is going to make a significant increase in your credit score. So those are two easy ways to boost your credit score. Pay off your debt and make payments on time. Okay. So 15% of that is length of credit history. All right. So Dale, I've known you for a little bit. This might not apply, because if I asked you for $100, you might let me borrow $100. You know, because I've known you for a little bit. You be like, okay, yeah, she's good for it. I trust her. She's good. Now, had I just met you yesterday and I asked you for $100, I would probably be a whole no. Right?
I don't know you like that.
I don't know you like that. That's the mentality you got to have when you talk about length of credit history. Honestly, they don't know you like that. They don't know what you're going to do. And this is why no credit is as bad as bad credit. Because at least it's the devil you know. So even if your credit's bad, I can see you were good at some point. Maybe something happened and there was a drop, but I see you trying to make the climb back up. You can see the ebbs and flows of history and time with the story. If there's no story, you.
That's going to raise question marks.
I don't know you. Mama don't know you. Uncle don't know you. Papa don't know you. Don't nobody know you. Right. So that's why when you have a credit card, it's important. Don't close them, even if you don't use them. Now, granted, this is especially when you're building, though. When you're building credit, hold on to it because you need that history. I was doing so good. I was proud of myself. I said, I've got the credit card I had when I turned 18. Do you know I stopped using it and I wasn't paying attention and they shut me down and it reduced my credit history? And I was like, why my score go down 5 points? What's wrong? I ain't done nothing. And it was because that long history that I had with them, it was reduced because I had stopped using that card. So it's a game. You got to play the game. You got to know to play the game. But when you're building credit and you're starting to use credit, when you get it, maintain it. Even if you don't put but a little bit on there, you got to let them know you're thinking about them. It's like you in a relationship. If you don't call your boo, they out. You know what I mean? You ain't thinking about me. You ain't calling me. You ain't checking on me. Relationship, right? So you have to have a healthy relationship. And so you want your friends, you want to maintain those relationships. So the people who gave you credit, you want to maintain those relationships. I'm not saying don't max them out. Stay below 30%. And if you really don't have to, just pull them out every once in a while. Let them know, yeah, we still cool. You know, but maintain your credit history, and that the length goes a long way. That length goes a long way. So the last two are the same: new credit and types of credit used. So let's talk about new credit because 'tis the season. Everywhere you go, 'tis this time of year. Are you going to put that on your card? If you got this offer, we'll give you 15% off. We'll give you 40% off. They could give you 100% off. It ain't going to matter because their interest rate is going to be so high on the back end. They're going to make that back in no time. But the inquiries, this is where you want to be careful of how many times you're actually filling out applications for credit. Now, you might question, you'll get the pre-offers in the mail, you're pre-qualified, you're pre-approved, or things like that. That doesn't hurt you. It's a soft pull, considered a soft pull, and that does not hurt because you are not actually hardcore applying for that. They just ran some preliminary numbers, said, oh, yeah, you look like you fit in our block, so we think we can offer you. And even those, you can apply hardcore and you can be declined for even a pre-approved or pre-qualified, because when they do more digging with your approval at that point, then they get more hardcore numbers and they can say yay or nay. So it's still not a guaranteed thing. But just know, new credit. So you want to stay below 6 credit inquiries within a year's time, a rolling year. So be careful with, especially this time of year when everybody's trying to say, we'll give you a percentage off if you get our credit card. Or if you just be careful with that, because it will drop your score. I'm not saying it'll drop it a whole lot and it will rebound faster, but just kind of stay away from that. Because if I'm asking Dale and then I go ask his brother and I go ask my cousin over here and everybody, if I'm asking everybody for money, when they get together, they're going to look at me kind of strange. Did she ask you for $100? She asked me for $100 too. Really? She asked me too. And all of a sudden, you got 6 people in the room and you ask all 6 of them for $100. They're going to look at you funny.
Right. Right.
It's the same. It's the same concept. It's really the same. They're going to say, why do you need what's going on in your life? What stresses have come up in your life that are causing you to now need so much money?
And then are you going to pay us all back our $100? That becomes a question because you're overextended with it now.
Yes, too much.
35% of our credit score is based on payment history. Are you paying people that you've borrowed from or have credit with on time? 30% of our credit score is the amount that I owe with those creditors being at 30% or less than the available credit that I have.
Yes.
Okay. And 15%, that's just a subjective thing. Now, when we talk about length of credit history, is the number 2 years? Is it 4 years? Is it 10 years? I mean, where's a sweet spot? I mean, I'm sure if it's 30 years, that's even better. But if you want to, if you're improving your credit, how long would you expect that 15% to affect our credit score in a positive way?
So I would say the same amount of time it takes them to look. And most people now, when they look at your credit history, a lot of places you can see it for 7 years. But when they're really pulling the data and they're like, okay, they're making a decision, they're going to look in the last 2 years. So I would say 2 years or longer, would be the best. It would be the best.
And 10%, we have, 10%, that seems like that only could be like a negative thing? I mean, the 10% of our credit score where it's affected by the amount of new credit you have. So if say, for example, I haven't applied for a new credit card in 10 years, what does that 10% look like for me?
Well, it doesn't help you per se, but it is a modifier if you get too much. Okay. It looks good if you haven't had any new credit in 10 years. It does look good, but it will hurt you more if you do more. Okay. It'll more hurt you. Mm-hmm. And then that last 10%, the types of credit used. Mm-hmm. So there are levels to credit, and you can have credit cards. This is your bottom tier. This is the time I get to talk about food and money. It's my favorite part of the conversation. So you have your bottom tier of credit, which is your revolving credit or the McDonald's of credit. You go to McDonald's back and forth. It's always available. It's there. It'll do what you need to do. It's always going to be there. It might not be the best meal ever, but you got to eat. Grab a burger, grab some fries, some nuggets. It's fine. You're gonna live. And that's what revolving credit. Your credit cards is always open line of credit. It's going to do what you need to do. It's going to affect you some. It's not going to give you the biggest score, but it's a start. It's a start, right? So your second level of credit is your installment loan credit, or like your Applebee's of credit. You're a little more upscale. You go sit down, have somebody come wait on you, take your order and stuff. And your installment loan credit is a little bit of a bigger commitment because it is any loan you have with a fixed monthly payment. So that's like your car payment. If you have any bank loans that has a fixed monthly payment, those are installment. You pay the entirety of the loan in regular fixed installments. Okay. And then you have the biggie, the Ruth's Chris of credit. Is your real estate credit. Real estate, all these build upon each other, and each level is stronger and stronger. So installment is stronger than your retail or your revolving credit. If you have that, you'll have stronger credit. If you have real estate credit, you have extremely strong credit. It will boost your credit even when you have real estate. Now, the thing is, they help you stay current, because if you're not current, it will hurt you like nobody's business. Foreclosures are devastating to a credit score. Anything that's not being paid will hurt you. So this is why you can go to an auto dealership and you can have a 710 credit score, but all you have is credit cards. And they can say it's not strong enough. And you can be like, wait, what do you mean? I have excellent credit. I have a great credit score. And that's true. But they're not talking about your score. They're talking about the strength in the score. So that's why that makes a difference.
Okay. You know, I knew those things, but I didn't know how they differentiated based on the type that it was. You know, your credit card, your installments, your real estate, but that each one of them is a little, as we go down this list, a little bit more important, right, or more influential on your credit.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yes.